This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, October the 11th, 2022. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up in today's show, I'll visit with the folks at the National Pork Board about preparedness for any foreign animal diseases. We'll also take a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we've come to the end of the trading day for this Tuesday, and to summarize everything, we turn to Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Jacob, what did we see in those markets today?
We saw a little bit of recovery in the soybeans late in the day. We ended up going to close this thing here, unchanged. We chopped around in the corn market here most of the day, but the wheat market is one that took it on the chin, giving back almost all of the gains that we took yesterday. Yesterday we came in with some weekend fears of less wheat coming out of the Ukraine Russia area. A lot of confrontation there with the bombing of the bridge. Today, Russia comes out and says, "Hey, we're going to actually lift some of the quotas that we have, put on the grains just due to ample supplies." So, we end up being 35 lower in the Chicago wheat, along Kansas City down about 30 cents as well. But nickel lower here in the corn, traded down below the $7 level, slightly above it at one point today, but a nickel lower at the close. And looks like beans are going to settle up here, nearly unchanged on the day.
And corn and soybeans had a decent overnight. What was the turnaround there? Was it just the wheat market putting too much pull on it?
Absolutely. I think yesterday you look at the corn market. I mean, in beans as well. At one point was sympathetically higher just because following the wheat along. There was a lot of unrest news, a lot of optimism that maybe China's coming back in to buy some beans yesterday. Really haven't seen any reports of that today. Corn market started off stronger overnight. And just couldn't hold the gains. And there's a lot of choppiness coming into the report here for tomorrow as well, just trying to get some positioning.
What are we expecting to see out of this WASDE? I know October is usually not one we hold our breath on too much, but we still want to know what's going on. What are you guys seeing?
Well, we had that conversation this morning. The reports, some of these reports are not ones that you look at big moves, but when you're talking about even a small move in a market that's trading $14 beans and $7 corn, it turns out to be a financially big move. What we're looking at here, I can't say that we're that far away from any of these analyst estimates that we're looking at. The 171.8 is where the average guess is at. Last month, 172.5 for corn yield. I think that I would, what does the report do if it varies from there? I feel like the market wants to be higher, but it's going to have to need some gas to get it there. And I think if we're at that, nothing surprises the market to the downside on yield. I think we can say that both for corn and beans. I think it's probably a neutral to a little bit slightly negative report. The production numbers at 13.8, we know they came in with some stocks, last month's stocks number that took away quite a bit. I think the key here is the USDA, what they do on the balance sheet. If it's below 1 billion bushels, that's very friendly. I think the 1.2 area is closer to where we'll be in the corn. On the bean side of things, not surprising to see some upward direction in the yield just from the people that we've talked to and our customers that we deal with. Seems to be some very good yield numbers out there, and a little bit surprisingly in some areas that are reporting better numbers. But realistically, the beans, have a kind of a negative story right now. And I think if it's anything, much higher than 250 million bushels on carryout, could put some pressure on the bean market.
Now, just around the close yesterday, we got the news that some dredging was done in the Mississippi to help get some boats moving again around Memphis and the island down there between Louisiana and Mississippi. Now, I know obviously it's not the end-all, fix-all problem, but how is that going to help with some of the traffic, being able to move through there again?
Yesterday you saw probably two of the worst news stories that you could see right now. During the middle of harvest, you got to, well, actually, it's getting better, but we've had some of the worst stories. River being slowed down and closed up to a certain level of drafts. And then the railroads talking about another strike and nothing's going to get fixed. So first of all, the dredging part of it, anything opening that back up and getting our normal movement of grain is going to be good. We've seen some basis levels just absolutely fall apart. I didn't follow it today along the river to see what they did, but I would say that you're going to start seeing some better opportunities. I still don't think that without the rain, they're going to be able to fill some drafts any higher than where we were at 8 feet. So I mean that's a story that needs to hopefully get better as we go along before the river closes up here where I'm at. But I think it will do. I mean, it's obviously anytime you get better movement in a more traditional facet of what we're used to, it's going to be better for the farmer.
All right, now let's switch gears to livestock. How do the cattle and hogs play out today?
Well, I think that the feeder cattle are looking for an opportunity to bounce. We've had a pretty good story of a head and shoulders. Didn't quite reach the bottom side of the targets that we had, but we did find some pretty good support here. We're looking at $3 higher in that feeder cattle, taking back be even more than the loss that we saw yesterday. So a very good day feeder cattle. The cash market and the cattle has been strong. We've seen some sideways trade here and got a little bounce off that. So we're $1.50 higher than the fat cattle as well. Hog market held in there pretty quiet. The front months, that lean hog index has been, we're about evened up with our October prices, but we're down about 70 cents here in the October futures and pretty quiet all the way out through the hog market.
All right. Well, Jacob, a lot of great information as always. If folks want to talk market strategies with you guys at agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Hey, go look us up, agmarket.net, and just take a free trial here. We got a 30-day free trial. It has all of our agmarket.net intel. You can check us out on the About Us, get an email there from that page, or you can simply just look us up on social media or give us a call here, 608-384-5438.
All right, Jacob, thanks so much for passing along the information, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
That again was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Let's run down those closing numbers for you, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn was down 5 1/4 at $6.93 even. March down 4 1/2 at $7.25. November beans up 2 1/4 at $13.76 1/4. January up 2 1/4 at $13.88 even. December soy meal up 30 cents at $4.06 even. Soy oil down 59 cents at $65.47. December Chicago wheat down 37 cents at $9.01 even. Minneapolis down 29 at $9.85 1/4. Kansas wheat down 33 1/2 at $9.90 3/4. Oats for March up 8 at $3.95 3/4. December live cattle up $1.57 at $148.57. Feeders up $2.97 at $175.07. October lean hogs down 72 cents at $93.02. Pork cutouts down 25 cents at $102.25. Class 3 milk was down a dime at $21.82. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with the folks at the National Pork Board about foreign animal disease preparedness. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AM/PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. While we haven't talked about African swine fever for some time, and foreign animal diseases have kind of been a little bit lower on the list of concerns right about now, that doesn't mean that the threats have gone away. We talked with folks at the National Pork Board earlier this year, talking about what you can do to be prepared and what the National Pork Board has available as far as tools to help guide you through any plans that have to be put in place if a foreign animal disease is detected. We're talking right now with Dustin Odekoven and Al Wolfcool with the National Pork Board, and thank you for taking a few minutes to talk with us today. We're talking about AgView. Let's talk about that first. What is AgView? What are we getting out of that, and what can producers get from that?
Sure, Dustin. AgView is a pig movement database that's been funded by Pork Checkoff with the intent to provide movement information to state animal health officials in the event of a foreign animal disease. The U.S. pork industry is dependent on export markets for 30% of its production. And we know that when even just one case of African swine fever is found in the United States, it would stop those export markets immediately and stop all movement of pigs in between states and in between production sites for at least 72 hours. And resumption of that movement of animals is dependent on state animal health officials having the information they need in order to find out which animals came from sites that might be of high risk, and probably just as importantly, which ones didn't come from those sites. And so we're really excited about AgView as far as being able to provide that information and help in the resumption of continuity of business.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ali.
Yeah, I just wanted to, in my lifetime, and I've been raising pigs for 43 years, we've had numerous diseases come in from other countries, right? And, PRRS is a nasty one, circovirus, PED, H1N1. And we've never been able to find it quick enough and to trace it to have any chance at all of stomping it out. And AgView is this amazing tool. It's going to allow our state veterinarians to figure out where the disease came from, where it may have gone, and then notify producers quickly so we can do that. And that would just, to me, it's kind of a goal of a lifetime to be able to do that. And we have the technology, and now we just need producer participation in the program.
So what I was going to ask is, we obviously use this to focus on African swine fever, but I'm assuming that this could work for PRRS. I mean, we're seeing PRRS in some pneumonia cases here in Iowa. I'm assuming that works just as easily to be able to isolate and get that taken care of as fast as possible.
Initially, AgView has been developed with foreign animal diseases in mind. And when we think about foreign animal diseases for the swine industry in the U.S., we're primarily talking about African swine fever, foot and mouth disease, and classical swine fever. However, now that the technology has been built, it potentially lends itself to other uses. And that's if the industry wants to move that direction, we have the database in place. We've made tremendous strides with AgView here in the last, especially just this year, by connecting with producer databases for management of swine farms and movement of pigs. And so a lot of that information can be automatically uploaded when the producer gives permission for that to happen. In addition, as I mentioned, the ultimate goal is to provide that information to state animal health officials, and AgView allows that information to flow up to databases that are being used by state animal health officials. So we're encouraging producers to go out, create an AgView account at agview.com. We have over 6,000 premises entered in there now, and pork checkoff dollars continue to fund the development of that database.
Okay, and you're also talking about, just to finish up this part of the topic, you talked about how we have one region. Obviously, the United States, it's similar to going to Europe when you have country to country. That's a different situation. You don't think of it, but I mean, let's say because of Dominican Republic or whatever, we may get it in southeastern part of the United States. That doesn't mean Iowa or California or anywhere else is going to get it. We should be able to contain it, hopefully, even just like a smaller country would. Correct?
Yeah, we would hope to. We would hope to be able to contain that disease, and a couple things on that is that early detection of the disease is critical if we're going to get on top of it and be able to do a regionalization like you're talking about. So we're encouraging anyone with pigs, if they see animals that are not acting right, and unfortunately ASF can look like a lot of other diseases that we have. So it's important to develop that relationship with a veterinarian. Report signs early. Don't be afraid to call in a foreign animal disease investigation, because again, finding that first case is going to be critical to being able to reestablish our export markets. Now, unfortunately, even just finding one pig with African swine fever virus somewhere in the United States will stop all of our exports and will limit all of our movement. And so until we have the ability to find out where pigs have moved and find the extent of the infection, the effect will be felt across the entire industry. So it's so important to have that movement database, and probably even more important than that, develop a biosecurity plan. And that leads us to talking about the secure pork supply. Securepork.org is where producers can find information about developing a biosecurity plan.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about that program and how that works, if you would.
So Secure Pork Supply, it's like, to me, I would call it a checklist or a template, and every site, every farm is different. So you go to Secure Pork Supply and you fill in the information from your farm, and you decide what's best to keep disease out of that farm and put it into the Secure Pork Supply plan. And it's not just for keeping it out, it's for if we do get ASF in our area and we're in a control zone, How are we going to make it even better, more biosecure? And when the state veterinarian comes in and decides if he's going to give us a permit or not, he needs to have confidence that you have not allowed anything in that could transmit virus in the last few weeks. Because one thing with African swine fever is the incubation period could be up to 14 days. And it's a disease, at first it starts looking at like a lot of other diseases, and it's a slow moving disease, so you don't have a lot of mortality at first, but it just keeps building and building. And so when a producer might say, I'm in a control zone and my pigs look healthy, why can't I move them? It's because you could have had virus sneak in 10 days ago and the pigs look okay yet, but you got virus. So that's why the traceability is so huge, and the confidence in the secure pork supply plan that biosecurity on this site is tight. I trust it. You've done the surveillance. I'm going to write you a permit and let you move pigs. If the state veterinarian does not have that confidence, then he might say, I think you should wait a little bit. And we all know what happened in COVID when we couldn't move pigs. And as a producer, I don't want that to happen again.
Okay. Also, U.S. ship. Can we talk about that a little bit? What is that all about for people that maybe not be familiar with that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the U.S. Swine Health Improvement Plan is a developing program that is being put together right now, modeled after the National Poultry Improvement Plan, which has been very successful. And what it involves is the adoption of standards for three things: biosecurity, which we think is absolutely critical, traceability, and we've mentioned the need for that, and testing and sampling, or surveillance. Okay, so those three components are the basis of the U.S. Swine Health Improvement Plan. And pork producers can voluntarily enroll in U.S. SHIP, choose to comply with those standards, and ultimately we hope to have great participation in that gives us some assurance that animals outside of a control area, outside of a disease response, continue to be negative for those diseases.
Yeah, and what's really rewarding to me as a producer, and I hear this all the time, we don't need more programs, we don't need more things. But AgView is biosecurity, traceability, and testing. US SHIP is biosecurity, traceability, and testing. So if you do AgView, you have all the information you need to comply with US SHIP. And that's working together. And National Pork Board and the US SHIP team has been working really closely together, along with National Pork Producers Council. And it feels really good as a producer knowing that everybody's working together.
Yeah, the Pork Board and Pork Checkoff funds have helped fund several tools that help to lead into participation in U.S. SHIP. The AgView program helps meet the traceability component. The Secure Pork Supply Plan meets the biosecurity component. And we're looking at training individuals to be able to collect samples in the event of a foreign animal disease outbreak through a program we call the Certified Swine Sample Collector Training Program. And that's been developed with pork checkoff funds as well.
You know, when you talk about all these tools, you know, like you said, you know, if you do AgView, that'll help you be compliant for U.S. SHIP. And, you know, you're talking about, you know, the fact of just sharing information. And a lot of times there's farmers out there that don't feel secure sharing that information or wonder what's going to happen to that information. What assurance do they have that what they're sharing and what they're choosing to pass on is going to be safe?
Yeah, Dustin, what I would say to that, with a specific reference to the AgView program, is that the Pork Board has worked with its developers to ensure the security of that data, ensure that the permission sharing of that data is protected. I mentioned earlier, but we have had a number of companies that provide data into AgView on behalf of their producers, and it's done in a way that asks for the permission and protects the data securely, and then only uploads that data to the authorities if and when there's a foreign animal disease outbreak. And at the moment, we think that's a very secure way to keep that data and to share it if needed.
Yeah, we've given an enormous task to our state veterinarians to be able to find the virus and trace it and stamp it out. And as producers, we have to help them. We have to be able to provide the information that they know exactly where our sites are at. They know who to contact, and you know, that's what AgView does, right? And so state animal health officials, they're our partners in this, and they're our allies. And as producers, we got to look at them that way and treat them that way, that we're going to do everything we can to help you do your job so you can save the industry. But they have that very difficult task. Yeah.
The one thing I found was also interesting is the fact that you said some of it was modeled off what the poultry industry did. And boy, did they learn a couple of years ago what they could do better. And the pork industry was there to help them say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what works for us. We're seeing it this year that those changes did help. It's good to see the different facets and different areas of agriculture working together for the common good in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. That's well put. We all benefit when we work together, and certainly we're learning together on how to respond to diseases in a cooperative way.
Again, find more information at pork.org. Let's go ahead and run down that ag weather outlook. Well, we had some sunny skies, but clouds are starting to roll in here in the central part of the state. There are chances of showers coming up here tonight. The temperatures have been pretty much above normal. Now, how long will that last? Is there a cool down coming? Well, let's find out in the next 24 hours from the National Weather Service. Well, as we said, definitely sunny and above normal temperatures today. We saw windy conditions start to pick up across the state as well. Clouds and rain were forecasted to be hanging out around the Mississippi River area, especially in that east central part of the state. Now tonight, mostly cloudy skies will permeate through most of the state, and we'll see rain likely. And we'll see temperatures cooling down to the mid-40s to the upper 50s in some areas. Now tomorrow will be mostly sunny and breezy in the west. Chances of rain will remain in the east, but we'll see cooler temperatures from the low 60s to around 70 degrees. Looking at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will have sunny skies and 63. Shenandoah will be sunny and 70. Des Moines will be sunny and 68. Waterloo, mostly cloudy to partly sunny, depending on your philosophical bent, and it'll be 66. Albia, partly sunny and 67. Clinton, mostly cloudy, chances of thunderstorms, and 66 degrees. For a more detailed forecast in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we put a video product out. Don't forget about our free Twice Daily Market podcast coming to you through Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.